Trails in the Sky First Chapter is the first simultaneous worldwide release in Falcom's 44-year history. That should tell you exactly how important this remake is for Falcom. When I say it's a huge change, I mean it. Full 3D environments and models, a completely updated and overhauled combat system, full voice acting, and additional story content added. Falcom's previous remakes were not to the scale of this one. The closest would be when Ys 3 was remade into The Oath in Felghana, in memory of Celceta, which is a remake of Ys 4. They have a history of making new versions of their old games, but this is the largest scale remake they've ever done. Tales in the Sky First Chapter is being developed as a deliberate entry point for newcomers to the series, and to revitalize the Trails franchise, which Kondo thinks has become more niche over time. This is a big shift for Falcom. They've always been a Japan-first company, for better and for worse. Most likely this is happening now because the West has shown they will buy Falcom games, with increasingly more of their market shifting to the West. The Trails in the Sky remake features a complete visual overhaul to 3D. They're using the Daybreak engine, which by the name you can tell was used in Trails Through Daybreak, but with significant changes. One such change that they've been talking about is seamless transitions. I've seen this mentioned in multiple different articles, mostly referring to town and field maps, and obviously action to turn-based combat. They already made entering buildings and Trails Through Daybreak seamless, so if true, the field to town seamless transitions will make the game even more immersive than previous entries. There are also updates to the visuals for characters so they look good in 3D. They've put out multiple showcases of what the various characters will look like with their new models. It's a fairly faithful reproduction with some slight deviations. The characters do have some adjustments to their outfits. They even have a side-by-side of Joshua and Estelle's outfits, and the game includes classic outfit DLC that comes with a pre-order. The world itself is now fully rendered in 3D, giving us a look at Liberl like we've never seen before. They showcased various locations such as Roland. Looking at Liberl in this way has been pretty mind-blowing. After seeing it exclusively rendered with low-poly 3D models in an isometric view, you can even look up in the sky and see airships. Combat is seeing a very large overhaul, bringing it more in line with the latest entries in the Trails series, so expect something similar to Trails Through Daybreak. There are now brave attacks, so when the stun gauge reaches 100%, the enemy is stunned and cannot take action for one turn. Allies can then either use a follow-up attack, chain, or burst. There are link attacks, so these consume the brave gauge, which builds up during battle to activate each character's special attack. For example, Joshua and Estelle's link attack has a wide range, so these are all two characters doing a special attack together. Overdrive has been added, which is a tactical orbment function that can be activated when the target character has an aura around them. It grants the user a powerful buff and immunity to debuffs for 2 turns, and when attacking during Overdrive, there's a 100% chance of a brave attack activating. In order to make it a bit easier to clear enemies you're over-leveled against, for any enemy you are 5 levels above, damage is doubled in quick battles, so that's the action combat. There are various support abilities that can be activated in certain circumstances. These have their own support EXP that you can get through eating food and through combat. Leveling up can give you new support abilities or morph old ones into something new. There are a lot of quality of life changes here, and that echoes through the interface, the camera, animations, and rebalance difficulty options. The main storyline of Trails in the Sky hasn't been significantly changed. It will follow the same narrative beats from the original. That being said, there will be some differences. Falcom has said there will be improved pacing during certain story segments, so some sections may be shorter or longer than you remember, depending on what they think needed changed. Straight from Kondo himself, he said that the entire base game is littered with new content and reworked significantly. We don't yet know the exact details of this, but there has been talk of expanded character backstories and some enhancements to those backstories. This is based on streams and in interviews where Toshihiro Kondo has said the Trails in the Sky remake will feature details from later entries in the series to increase cohesiveness. My guess would be that a lot of this will come through things like additional dialogue, NPCs that talk about certain events, things like that, but it can also include larger additions, and it sounds like it will. There is suggestion of more significant added side quests, possibly relating to those character backstories I was talking about. One such confirmed example was told to Famitsu in an interview with Kondo, where he said, "In Bose, you may expect to meet a number of unique characters such as Maybell, her maid Leela, as well as the senior bracers Grant and Annalise. Also, anticipate them to be a part of newly added quests that were not in the original game." So that confirms additional events, expanded character interactions, and more story in addition to a visual and combat overhaul. They've confirmed there will also be additional banter dialogue added, so basically dialogue that happens as you're exploring the world or going through dungeons or that sort of thing. There's also a season pass, which would suggest significant additional content considering the $24.99 price point. Does that mean new intermissions that link the first and second chapter? I don't know, but as much as I have mixed feelings on DLC, if it's something substantial, it could be a good thing. There's now full voice acting in Trails in the Sky first chapter. They have a pretty stacked group of English voice actors who are reprising their roles. The Japanese voice cast has been completely changed, which was a bit of a shock to people, but it's the choice that was made, so we have to deal with it regardless of whether we like it or not. They have also confirmed that for the Western release, we'll be able to change to Japanese voices, which is generally my preference. A lot of the time I find that American voice direction for JRPGs can be rough. Not the voice actor's fault, by the way, but for some reason voice directors make them do this American Saturday afternoon cartoon character style that absolutely kills tone for the characters. If we could do away with that, it'd be great, but it's still pretty common. There will also be an entirely new translation. They're not choosing to use the translation that was done by Xseed. It's pretty huge news. It might come as a blow to some people who love that translation. They have said that the new translation honors the original Japanese text, which to me means that this translation is going to be more literal, one-to-one. That isn't always a good thing, because some things that make sense in Japanese don't necessarily make sense in English, and a bad translation can make or break things like characterization. I don't think the translation will be bad, but will it be great? Hard to say, and I guess we'll have to wait to find out. In addition to new voices, the music is getting a facelift with an entirely new soundtrack with new arrangements of old songs. After going through all the news and details surrounding the release of Trails in the Sky first chapter, one thing has become abundantly clear. This is not some half-assed visual update labeled Remake. It's a fully fleshed out new game, lovingly crafted using the original source material. The more I hear about it, the more I get excited to see what they've come up with. While there is potential for it all to crash and burn, Falcom has consistently delivered for decades. Maybe they don't always hit the highest heights or AAA production, but they craft everything they do with passion, so I'm hoping that this will be the definitive version of Trails in the Sky, and that it boosts Falcom back up into the mainstream at least a little bit. I need them to do the same thing for chapters 2 and 3, after all. I do videos on JRPGs, Western RPGs, and story-based games, so if you like that, subscribe. Thanks for watching.